Hi guys, my name is Jocelyn and my video is going to be very old school YouTube inspired, very Casey Neistat inspired. So let's begin. I have here a black box. So let's talk about black box, the concept of black box um, online. So let's get started. So in the black box, I have social media equals free speech, right? That's what we see. When we go on social media, everything is free speech. Wrong. It's control. In reality, it's all about control. So let's talk about platforms. Are platforms open? Are they neutral? Are they public? So according to Tartalen, just not Giuseppe. Giuseppe's are the shoes. Um, Gil, Gillespie. According to Gillespie, um, the terminology and the word platform is used strategically or sneaky. Both. Both by big organizations like X, like TikTok, like Facebook, like Instagram, like X. They use the terminology of platform as a safety blanket, as a way for them to protect themselves legally, but in a way where they can publicly advertise themselves in a good way to the public so that the public trusts that they are getting neutrality for all and equality for all content creators that choose to be on these platforms. Let's talk about algorithm. So algorithm is how content is displayed and shared amongst viewers. The algorithm is supposed to be fair and equal to all its users. It's supposed to work very much like this. Content creators put out their content of their choosing. It could literally be anything. It could be just sharing their ideas, sharing their thoughts, sharing their opinions, sharing their music, sharing their acting. And the output, it can be viral content creators, viral content in general. But is it always like that? No, wrong. No, it's not. Algorithm is not fair. It's not neutrality for all. That's wrong. What it is, it's actually a controlled environment. There's a lot of censorship going on. There's a lot of shadow banning going on that these big organizations that are social media that advertise themselves as platforms, they don't really share this, but they have a controlled environment in every single one of these big companies. Let's talk a little bit about what shadow banning is. So shadow banning is I drew a little picture. So a content creator can literally have multiple videos that are hitting maybe a million views, um, between a million and 50,000 likes and views, and maybe they share an opinion or a thought or an idea that's not their regular content, that's more informative to the public, and that's when they get shadow banned. That's when all of a sudden their content is not getting to the views that they once were getting to. Their following starts to drop again. Why? That's very odd, right? If I have a big following, if my content, if my followers are supportive, and I know this because I'm reading my comments, I'm following up with my engagement with my public. Why is there a step back? Why is there a decline? Because of a controlled environment. So the algorithm and works very much like this. I am so sorry about that the technical difficulties we had, but we are back. So picking up right where I left off. So when content creators share and post content that is very much not informative, but more that is more creative, like they are creating music, they are creating art, that is not political, that is not controversial, that is not a sensitive topic, or when it's just very, very much basic and very narrow, then these platforms do decide to push them on the algorithm and to promote them more. But when content creators begin to make content that is more informative, like about human rights, about legislatures, about new policies, about any big news that's going on inside and outside of the country, that's good, that's bad, that's when the algorithm starts to shadow ban it, to censor it, because they are, again, a controlled environment. When they start talking about topics that are very sensitive and very political, like immigration raids going on in the US, the content, there are videos out there, there are posts out there about this topic, but a lot of it is censored. So this is another big topic too. Palestine versus Israel. The Palestine versus Israel war. A lot of us did not know that this war was happening. Why? Because a lot of us were oblivious to it, because our algorithm was force feeding us a lot of content that was very much the opposite of what was actually going on in the world. So a lot of the content, there is a lot of videos that exist still right now that were first released when the war first started, but they were shadow banned, they were censored, and a lot of the other content that again was very neutral, very non-controversial, that content that did not speak about any human rights, any issues, any world problems. That was what was being pushed out and promoted more in the algorithm and in the FYP, if you will. So if the For You page is on TikTok, And I want to talk about the For You page because that is where we get lost in the sauce. That is where we get lost in the sauce, because this is where sometimes, not sometimes, this is where our content that we are more drawn to comes up, like me, makeup and artists like Bad Bunny. That's where that content comes up more for me. But there are a lot of times where content about human rights come up as well, about human injustices that are happening around the states, like Colorado, California, and this is why. Well, this actually, hold on. This leads me to my last index card, my last prop that I have in my black box, which is this blindfold. After talking about all of the examples of shadow banning and censorship that these platforms have done, at the end of the day, they put us in a black box. We are meant to be oblivious to everything that's going on around us. That's their main objective, because they have that controlled environment for us. And when we choose to continue to ignore all of these red flags, we choose to put the blindfold on. So my message here today is to remove that blindfold, to make sure that we are more self-aware of what's going on, especially in a time like this where our country is very much divided, because there are a lot of social injustices going on. There's a lot of new policies, a lot of new legislature that is happening, and we need to be more aware. As a social work student, I firmly believe that we can once again become one, and we can come together again if we put in the work to choose to not be blindfolded, and we choose to not ignore the red signs, the red flags, and choose to not be oblivious, and choose to actually do our research and actually be informed. Knowledge is power. At the end of the day, knowledge is power. And yes, that is all for my video today. My name is Jocelyn, and yes, hoped this was an informative and cool video. Thank you.